If you want to start an online tutoring business in 2025, the key is to pick the right subject to teach online. If you get this wrong, your business is set up to fail right from the beginning. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to share what are the top 10 subjects to tutor online in 2025. So if you're a classroom teacher looking to make that transition to tutoring online, you'll know by the end of this video exactly what subjects you can and should or shouldn't teach online if you want to build a 6 or even 7-figure online tutoring business like I've already helped some of my clients do. I'll walk you through what are the 5 things that I look for when it comes to what are the most successful online tutoring niches, so you know exactly how to set yourself up for success right from the beginning when starting your own online tutoring business. So let's jump right in. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. I'll share what are the top 10 subjects to tutor online in 2025. The first thing I'll do is share with you what the internet says, specifically ChatGPT from all of its research. I'll then break down what I personally look for when it comes to the 5 things. I'll actually give some feedback on what ChatGPT says as well. And bear in mind that the Teacher Project, we've helped over 3,000 teachers go online now. So we've got great knowledge, better than anybody else on the planet, on what are the best subjects to tutor online when it comes to the right subject niche. We've helped thousands of clients go online, so we know what we're talking about. So I'll give you my take on that, being in the number 1 position inside of the tutoring industry to oversee what subjects are making classroom teachers or helping classroom teachers go literally from ground zero to, 6-figure online tutoring business owner in a matter of months. I'll give you all of my feedback. I'll share what are the 5 things that I look for when picking the right subject niche. And then I'll even break down what are my top 10 so we can compare that against what the internet says. So let's do this. So the first thing I'll do is I'll show you my screen right away on my computer and show you how we know and how I can actually give this honest advice. So if I share my screen right now, you're going to see our testimonials page. Now you'll see a little bit of info on me. You see I've been featured by Rolling Stone, New York Weekly, Benzinga, Entrepreneur Magazine, CEO Weekly, US Times, Associated Press, Google News, British Journal, NASDAQ. My best-selling book was featured by NASDAQ in Times Square, New York City. We've helped so many teachers at this point: Sadat Chowdhury from the UK, Sarah Tripp in French from Canada, high school coaching, so skill-based coaching, Sam Rabkin, Cillian Thomas, Evan, AP Calculus, Arif, the full UK curriculum, Lisa Leica, writing, elementary reading, A-level math, Marcus Samuel, and secondary school math, early years reading, AP physics, reading, ACT prep, calculus, high school math, physics, English as second language, so ESL, dyslexia and reading, test prep, GCSE sciences, middle school math, university finance, tutoring, reading, dyslexia, reading, test prep, Quran, even GCSE geography, so humanities, UK curriculum, pre-K reading, STEM-based subjects, English, French, test prep again, multiplication, software and coding and app creation, maths, writing, French and GCSE Spanish, some more test prep there, GCSE A-level, reading again, even dance, right? English. And so we've helped clients like Dalton go to 7 figures, if you look here on the screen, in just 10 months. She quadrupled her business and scaled to over $1 million. Quinita did 50 grand in teaching, in her own online tutoring business, teaching reading after leaving the elementary school she was working at. Marta scaled to over 20K doing GCSE. Kent, high school math, 17 grand in sales in a single month. And so the results that even Anthony doing dance did 14 grand in sales in just 6 weeks. We've helped teachers pretty much in all the subject niches you can imagine: Spanish, chemistry, English, more Spanish over there, violin even. Right? And so bridge, which is like a card game, okay? Sciences, university subjects, primary school, and so writing again. And so we've helped teachers in pretty much every subject. You saw humanities, even odd ones like dance that you wouldn't think were possible online. And of course, all the standard academic subjects. So the reason why I share that with you is because the feedback that I'm actually going to give you here is honest advice after working with thousands of teachers. So the first thing that I did was I actually asked ChatGPT. Okay, and I'll show you the prompt that I put in. Of course, ChatGPT will pull all the data and information from all over the internet. I said, hey, please provide me with the top 10 best tutoring niches for classroom teachers in 2025 to build a 6-figure online tutoring business. Please take into account market demand, income potential, validation, so teachers are already doing it, competition, and scalability. They're generally the 5 things that I personally look at when it comes to picking the best tutoring niche. And so here's what we got. Here's the top 10 best tutoring niches for classroom teachers in 2025 to build a 6-figure online tutoring business. So we're going to see what ChatGPT says, and then we'll compare it with what I believe, okay, after working with thousands of teachers. So SAT is ranked as number 1. Market demand is obviously high. You know, it's very important. There's a lot riding on it. So obviously there's a lot of, you know, it's people's careers and futures and lives going into college, scholarships, all that up for grabs, right? So the market demand is obviously high. Income potential, you can sell, because again, there's a lot riding on this. You can definitely make it big with test prep, okay? Now, validation, obviously thousands of tutors and companies are thriving. It is a very popular one. Now, I will say the competition is, I think this is inaccurate from ChatGPT. Okay, I believe the competition with SAT prep is actually high. Okay, you've got to be good, okay? A lot of people are doing it, but in order to charge like $2,000 to $5,000, you've got to be really good, to be honest. Now, in terms, when I say good, you've got to have a lot of testimonials, you've got to have a track record, because of course, more and more tutors are coming online, okay? The scalability is strong, meaning is it easy to teach in groups? So can you leverage your time? That's what I look at in terms of scalability. Can you hire other teachers to start to delegate the workload as well so that you can pull yourself out? Absolutely, because a lot of teachers are qualified to teach this. You can definitely delegate. You can definitely run a scalable model, so teach groups. And at the same time, you know, you've got more sufficient students because they're older. So it's definitely easier to scale. Plus you can charge a high amount for it. And so it's easier to scale. You can pour the money back into advertising. So I do believe with a lot of what it's said, it's not my number 1 though. So stay tuned to find out what is my number 1. Okay, and where this actually ranks on my list, okay? Early reading and phonics intervention. This is up there. It's always going to be. So this is primary or elementary age students. Obviously, market demand is high. A lot of parents don't have the time to read with their kids, things like that, like when they're just getting started. It's obviously such a foundational skill, and there's a huge gap for this. Okay, so it says competition high, but it's also great if you're a teacher just getting into this. I would actually rank that as moderate. I would switch that around. And I will say this because when I wanted a reading teacher for my daughter, I actually found it, this was specifically in the UK, I actually found it hard to find a decent reading tutor, even given my expansive network of being able to reach out. There wasn't many people doing it in the UK at that particular point. This was a few years ago now. So the competition is getting higher, but I would say the competition is actually moderate. Very easy to build, you know, a 6-figure business teaching reading very quickly, okay? Again, strong scalability too, given all the facts that we were speaking of before. Can you group the students? Can you charge a decent amount for it? Can you hire other tutors to help you grow and scale it? Absolutely, okay? GCSE math ranked as number 3, or obviously high school math in the US or Canada or wherever, Australia. Again, market demand, there's a lot riding on GCSE math. People see math as like the core subject. A lot of families believe that as well, that it's just such an important subject that their kid needs to master and learn. So of course they're going to be willing to invest into the tutoring. And so, yeah, I absolutely agree with this one at number 3. Same things. When I talk about validation, by the way, here, what I personally mean by validation is there's tutors, so classroom teachers who've already gone online and repeatedly proven that they can build 6-figure online tutoring businesses, replace their classroom salary, and of course, there's a load of people doing this, okay? Executive function coaching, study skills for teens. So I actually disagree with this being at number 4. Reason being, it can work, and I've seen some of our clients already do it, and you can absolutely charge a decent amount for it. So when it comes to market demand, it says here exploding. I would say it's still early, right? I would say it's still early. Income potential, again, you can earn a decent amount. The validation, I don't think that that's been proven at the level it needs to be proven yet. There is, of course, people already doing it, but I don't think this is number 4. I do agree that it is a top 10 subject. I don't think it's this high up, okay? In terms of competition, I'll absolutely say the competition is low. That's bang on. Scalability, it's going to be high for, I would say, for an older aged student, okay? Reason being, if we're thinking about students who are younger, might need some form of intervention or something like that with kind of key study skills and functional coaching, probably going to need to be smaller groups as well. Okay. So I don't agree with this being number 4, again, for those reasons, but also because a lot of parents aren't yet aware of that. So the market sophistication isn't at the level that I think creates the massive demand for it, parents actually realize that this is something that they need. With that being said, it is a good time to get in on this because you can be early into the market. There's less competition. So I do agree with what it said there. Okay. Let's race through a few of these. STEM for gifted and talented enrichment. STEM's huge. In fact, STEM is the biggest driver for the online tutoring growth. So obviously you've got your sciences, your technology, your maths, English, like all of those subjects. It's obviously, one of the main drivers and growing areas. Okay. So I agree that that's up there. Homeschool support. I don't think this is up there. Okay. I don't agree with this. I do think homeschooling is a big thing, but the competition. So I think, and when I'm looking at scalability, I'm also looking at like income potential, stuff like that. I don't think that you can scale to the amounts and the levels that you could with something like reading or test prep that it mentioned above. Okay. I actually wouldn't put this in my top 10 at all. Okay. College admission and essay coaching, absolutely super high. Coding and computer sciences, again, that is growing. It would be borderline top 10 for me. The reason being, again, parents and students. So you're predominantly marketing to the parents, right? If you're a classroom teacher looking to teach online, this is a newer market. It is growing in awareness, but because people aren't sure that it's something they absolutely need, and of course, all of the gaps in knowledge, what's going on in education, what subjects the students are actually teaching, it's a nice to have, right? And so because it's a nice to have, the other ones and the parent awareness of it, so the market sophistication isn't at the level that it needs to be, or it's not super aware yet that this is a thing, it obviously becomes harder to sell, and therefore it becomes harder to get people to commit to higher price points. Okay, so you can absolutely make it work. I would say the competition, I'd probably agree with that, like moderate to low. I still think it's low. The difficulty is exactly like what I said. For me, whilst there is a huge market demand, like there is a huge market, you'd have to be good at being able to market to those people, to take them from not aware and change the market sophistication to make them aware of how useful this could be for the students. So that would come down to a lot of the ability for you as a teacher to be able to market this well. Okay. IB A-level AP subject. I agree with the AP subject tutoring. That's huge. We've got a lot of clients you saw on my list up there, definitely a top 10. And then academic English support. Okay. I think this is huge, specifically with English for international students, also GCSE English, things like that, which is kind of, we touched on with the STEM, right? So let me walk you through what I'm looking at. So factor 1, so I kind of agree with a lot of what ChatGPT said, and I disagree with some of it. So I'll walk you through what my top 10.
Guys, quick interrupt. I hope you're enjoying the video, but I wanted to make sure you picked up your copy of Teaching on Your Own Terms. It's my best-selling book, and it shares with you the exact 5 steps what I've used with over 2,000 teachers at this point, helping them build their dream online teaching businesses. It went to bestseller in 7 categories. It's been featured by NASDAQ in Times Square, New York City. And I know you're going to love it. Inside of the book, you're going to learn things like how to position yourself as the go-to tutor in the marketplace and the offer that you can create to get your ideal students reaching out and how to communicate that. I'll share with you what I've seen as the best advertising strategies to get in front of new students and parents who want what you've got, how to sell your services, and everything you actually need to include in an online group tutoring business to make sure your students crush it and get great results. There's some free gifts and bonuses in there. I think in the first couple of pages, there's a link. You can go and grab some free gifts on me. But I know you're going to love it. Teaching on Your Own Terms. I'll leave a link down below in the comments and go and pick up your copy today.
So things I'm looking at. Factor 1 is demand, meaning are there people who want it? So are there exams taking place? Are there students out there? And majority of those subjects, there is some demand. Okay. But what I'm also taking into consideration as I go through these is, can any teacher do it? So you heard me speak about the coding and ones like this. There is demand for it, but you've got to be able to create the demand. I mean, you've got to be a good marketer. You've got to be good at sales to be able to sell all of that. I'm also taking into consideration, how can any teacher just go online and be super successful? And that's where I think our expertise come into play here. So factor 1, I'm looking at demand. Do people want the subject? Is there a market there? Yeah. Factor number 2, competition. So is there going to be a lot of competition? Is the subject saturated? I think all levels of all of the subjects, there's always an element of competition, some less than others, which I'll speak about on here. Factor number 3, I'm looking at, is it a validated niche? So have I seen tutors already being successful with this niche? And there is a dependence on that. I will actually say this, any subject taught in a school can be successful online. When it comes to the validation of the niche, the standard ones like you've seen there, the test prep, the STEM-based subjects, the reading, foundational skills, writing, they're all like super valid. There's obviously people doing it. And then you might be thinking, what about the unique subjects like dance? I shared you one of our clients doing dance online, humanities, physical education. What about those subjects? Well, I will actually say with them, I have seen them validated, but this actually comes down to how willing the teacher is to learn entrepreneurial skills and their ability to learn them at speed. Okay. And of course, you need the right coaching and mentorship in order to do that. Whereas some subjects, you can kind of get away with not being a good marketer, not being too good at sales because there is so much demand. Okay. So I'd say most of the subjects we've validated, but some of them, it just comes down to like how the teacher doing it is absolutely going to take it by the scruff of the neck and get good at mastering some key skills, marketing, sales, in a way that is far exceeding what perhaps other teachers need to be able to do because their subject's more in demand. Okay. For income potential, so what can you basically charge per subject? I'm looking at that. And then scalability. So again, what can you charge? Because if you can charge more, you can pour it back into marketing, hire other teachers. Can you easily hire other tutors to help you grow and scale? Can you teach groups so you can work smarter, not harder? So all of those things, I'm looking at the scalability. So here's my top 10. So what I've got in the top 10 are 1, elementary reading. Now I'll break down why I feel that this is number 1. Firstly, we saw what ChatGPT said from its research online, that it's massive, right? There's the ability to, is a huge demand, there's a huge gap in knowledge that needs to be caught up. It's a core subject. This is something students are always going to need to learn. The reason why I've put it as number 1 is because I actually think there's less competition and you don't have to be as skilled at some of the key skills for growing an online tutoring business, like marketing and sales. Okay, and so it's easier for teachers to quickly replace their classroom salary and do well with this, as opposed to something like the test prep or something like that. That's why I've got test prep at number 4. Also with elementary reading, the reason why I've put it at number 1 is because after you've done well in your own online tutoring business, this is something that you can easily gain big contracts at schools with. So you can quickly scale to 7 figures or more. Again, I've seen clients already do it. I've actually got number 2 as the 11 plus entrance exam in the UK. Okay. Again, pretty much any client that I've seen do 11 plus entry exam, they do really, really well, scale to 6 figures pretty fast. There's a great demand for it in the UK. There's not as much competition for it. So this is something that I've seen for UK teachers do really, really well with. Okay. And there's a lot riding on it. This is to gain entrance into a grammar school in the UK. And there's a test that students have to take. Plus the reason why it works, there's a nice cohort of students that you can target. Specifically, you could even start targeting students who, 3 years from taking the test. There's a nice ramp which helps you boost retention for your students as well, lifetime value. I put number 3 as academic and essay writing. Again, similar reasons to what I said as reading. Because it's a core subject, there's a lot of demand for it. It's easy to market and any subject teacher can pretty much go ahead and they can do it. And they can make it really successful right out the gate without having to be amazing, right? Marketing, sales, things like that. And plus, you can position writing a few different ways. You can do it essay writing for college entrance exams. You can do it just as a core skill when you're targeting elementary students. It's kind of a nice progression for reading teachers to bolt on to their offers and, boost their lifetime value with the students, because people can go from being good at reading and then they can build in a writing element to their tutoring programs as well. So writing is huge. I've got SAT test prep in my top 5 for sure. The reason why I've ranked it down there, I actually think it's more competitive than people think. Yes, it is scalable because you can charge a lot, you can teach groups, you can hire tutors to do it for you. But I think, and the demand is super high, I'll say that. I feel that the competition is higher, which makes it harder for other teachers to come online and just plug straight into this. Absolutely you can, But because of that, there's more competition. And if you want to be able to charge a premium, you've got to have great testimonials from students that you've already worked with online. And you're going to have better sales skills as well. So it can absolutely be super successful, just takes a little bit more ramping up. GCSE math, massive in the UK. That's up there. If you can teach GCSE math in the UK, I've got that in my top 5. 6, I've got sciences pretty much across the board. I've seen sciences work well, like the AP physics, organic chemistry. So basically all of the APs, advanced placement subjects in sciences. GCSE and A-level chemistry is great as well. So is biology. And so pretty much sciences across the board are good. I've ranked these at a specific level over the AP and GCSE and A-level for sciences. Okay. English language and literature. Okay, so academic English, not just ESL. I will say ESL can work, so English as a second language. However, it is harder to be able to charge premium and make it scalable because people are so used to paying and going onto these kind of low-cost websites to find low-cost tutors to teach them English as a second language, yeah? So in order to make ESL work, so I don't want you to get confused, you do have to be, again, one of those tutors or teachers I was saying. You've got to be great at sales. You've got to be a good marketer to be able to stand out in order to make it scalable so you can charge a premium. So this is specifically academic English. So like think GCSE in the UK, those exams, or high school level English in the US or Canada. Yeah. College admissions. So this is purely helping students gain scholarships. College admissions could be writing their essays, things like that. Absolutely massive, and just walking students through the application admission process. Modern foreign languages, you saw on my site. We've seen a lot of French, Spanish teachers do really, really well with online tutoring. And then I've also got special educational needs up here. So basically intervention, it could be with reading, dyslexia, specifically for, elementary aged students, even just any kind of education needs, ADHD, people who've fallen behind for lack of focus, things like that at the elementary level and primary level. Because you can charge, it's a very specialist subject. I will say it's less scalable, which is why I've got it as number 10, because the students are going to require more attention. So group sizes are going to be smaller. It's harder to obviously find like a specialist teacher to help you grow it and scale it. So it is in the top 10, but I've got it at number 10 for those reasons. I think the ChatGPT had it at number 4 or something. So that's my top 10. Now, if you're an online tutor, pretty much, or a classroom teacher looking to transition into online tutoring, you can absolutely build a 6-figure online tutoring business, replace your classroom salary. And so whilst I've given my top 10 niches or subjects to teach, and we compared it with what the internet said, it doesn't mean it can't work for your subject niche. It absolutely can. It just requires a few key skills. 1, identifying the right student within that subject. 2, building out the right program, so a premium program, knowing what to offer to the students and pricing it correctly. Then the marketing elements, be able to market, advertise your business and, create demand. 4, converting that demand, so great sales skills. And then 5, obviously the ability to teach the students in a group, get them amazing results, and then delegate that by hiring other teachers and automating your business. Now, I break these 5 steps down in my best-selling book, Teaching on Your Own Terms. If you haven't picked up a copy yet, you can go to the link down below this video. You can grab a copy. I talk about in the book how to identify the subject or the student within the subject you teach to make sure that you do have something that is in demand and you can grow and scale, what to provide to those students to build a thriving online tutoring business and get them amazing results. I walk through the advertising process that we've used with thousands of clients as well. So if you haven't picked up a copy yet, you can grab down below using the links underneath this video or on my site, or you can just go to teachonyourownterms.com/buy. So I hope that video was useful and letting you see my thoughts versus the internet's thoughts of the top 10 subjects to tutor in 2025. Hit like, hit subscribe wherever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next video.